Bermuda?
Sure, yeah, we had a incredible second trip for the Boychoir to Bermuda. It was a 9-day tour. We sang in New Jersey, right outside of New York, coming and going, presenting concerts as well as our Welcome Home concert. But on our way to Bermuda, we sang on the Celebrity Summit ship, presented concerts on board, and then once we were in Bermuda, we presented 3 full concerts and had an incredible time meeting incredible people. They're just such a warm and friendly country, and we just had a great time getting the chance to sing for them yet again.
What does that do for your group?
I think it's, multi-purposed in that, first of all, for a young man, many of whom I don't think any of the boys had ever been to Bermuda, and for them to kind of study and learn throughout the year. We're going 700 miles into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Who goes there, kind of a neat experience. So it's a motivator for students, that they have to work hard for the year. If their discipline is not up to snuff, they can't participate. They have to raise funds. They have to, follow all these steps in order to participate. And then a reward is incredible. And yet, even when they're there, they're still working, No doubt we went to the beach several days, we went shopping, we went on different ferries all around the islands and had an incredible time. But the boys are still rehearsing every day, they're presenting concerts, sharing their gift of music. And so I feel like not only does it build community within our organization, but it really gives a motivating factor for these boys to see another part of the world, many of whom have barely ever left Baltimore. They haven't seen much beyond the streets where they live. So I think it really expands the horizons.
One of the things you said when I was listening to you at the performance here in Baltimore was that you are looking for kids. Why?
So a couple reasons, but the Art of the Boychoir is the oldest youth organization we have in existence. So we have this incredible history that we're preserving, that people have kind of forgotten about. If you go to many African or South American cultures, for a man to be able to sing is considered the most important rite of passage in a tribe or culture. And if a man can't sing, he's incredibly minimalized and marginalized in that culture. We have this strange stigma in the United States about young men and singing and arts and things like that. And so we exist so that young men can find a place where they feel safe, they can be just like any other boy, but they love to sing. And so we're always looking for new young men. First of all, we have an incredible track record for boys who go the whole way through the program, graduate high school, and go on to college and move away. And so there's always a need for new voices because kids are going through the program and graduating out. But also the nature of the Boychoir, and I think what makes it unique and special, is the boy's voice as a soprano is a fleeting moment. It's something they'll never have again. It's unlike anything in creation. But a boy will have this incredibly powerful voice, and they'll always have a voice for the rest of their lives, but not in that soprano range. And I think that's what kind of brings the Boychoir home, is that you have this impish grin and young men who are just like any other kind of child who's, a little goofy and rambunctious, and when it comes to singing, their lungs are a little stronger, their capacity to project is a little stronger than their female counterparts. Not at any fault of the female, but just kind of the humanity of the nature that they've been given. So we're always looking for new boys to repopulate our organization and to benefit from this incredible experience. I know for myself.
How do you recruit?
So it's a year-long process. The boys always give me a hard time because I've been known to always recruit. If I see a young man on the street who looks reasonably respectful, I'll approach him and ask him if he sings. And they joke with me that, anyone, if they're of a male variety between 7 and 18, I'll ask them to sing. But in all honesty, we do radio advertising, schools and churches and community groups. We send out a lot of flyers and publicity during the year. And we know that not every boy in American culture wants to sing, but there are those who do. And we really want to make sure that they always have an avenue to sing with our organization.
Well, I didn't even know you existed here on Norman Avenue.
So many people don't. You know, here we are. We're starting our 27th season. We're in this incredible neighborhood here in Northeast Baltimore, Mayfield. Beautiful area, residential neighborhood. We had the great privilege of purchasing this building about 6 years ago, and have been slowly renovating it, turning it into an art center, and really making it a hub for music in Baltimore and all kinds of arts. So.
But in all this, are you saying to me that you can take a young man who might not have had any sort of disciplinary measures but has a good voice? What are you proudest at the end of 4 years?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I myself grew up singing in the Boychoir with no experience initially and learned the ranks. And I think it's true of any young man. No, you can't take a child who has no motivation to do anything to do something. I mean, there has to be a certain will within everyone. But you just need the slightest spark within a young man connected to an interest, I think, to get them to find a purpose. And for us, it's music, it's singing. And I think it's just enough interest. They love to sing. Well, maybe they don't have the social skills or the discipline, or those things come. They come through singing. And by and large, almost every time, a young man who comes to us, even if they don't have those skill sets or they come from a background where that's just not a part of what they've learned, the Boychoir quickly equips them, and they say, well, I want to sing. Well, if you want to sing, this is not how we act. And they quickly say, okay, well, then I better act the right way. It's pretty incredible to see how these young men are empowered through their love of music.
So since you've been here, what are you proudest of?
Let's see. Well, I grew up in the organization. I've been here a long time. This is my 15th year on staff, my 3rd year at the helm of the organization. I would say I am most proud of a diverse organization that truly represents many facets of our state and of our city in a culture and a climate that is still very separated, socioeconomically, racially, just kind of various different neighborhoods. And we have this incredible gift through music that we've united people who wouldn't be best friends with another boy who lives in a totally different part of town or a totally different part of life. And I just, that's incredible when you see these young men coming together to make beautiful music.
Well, I talked to the 4 that you mentioned, and what are you proudest about them?
Well, I have to say that is a particularly fine group, but anytime that I see young men in Baltimore City graduating high school, going to college, and pursuing dreams, and having watched them from when they were 7 or 8 or 9 to going through the ranks, going through the process, seeing them develop, seeing them during those really awkward middle school years that we all know exist for everyone, and kind of watching them evolve from little impish boys to young men who have an incredible future.
So what do you hold now? You're seeing the growth. What are you looking forward for the Maryland Boychoir?
Yeah, I see future collaborations. I love collaborating with other groups. I really hope to explore continuing partnerships with local communities, maybe having some outreach organizations or choirs within the group. That would be after-school programs that would kind of be within certain communities here in Baltimore. I also really want to continue to foster what I think makes us special musically, and that is so few groups cross the boundaries of different styles of music. You have groups that primarily do classical music by dead German white guys, or you have groups that do a very specific, we only do jazz, or we only do gospel, or we only do world music. And I think there's something to be said about kind of bringing the two together. You don't have a student only read Harry Potter for his English literature class. He still must read Shakespeare, but somehow they can work together. And the same thing I think is true of music. The way everybody, I don't know a single person that when they feel a beat or feel a rhythm, that something happens within them. You can't always categorize it or put a scientific method to it, but something stirs within us through music. And so I really want to continue to pursue that, just how we can build community through a diversity of music and of our community groups.
Well, there's so much variety in music now, especially among young people. With the disciplines that you instill in this young group, do they get opportunities while under your tutelage to do rap, to do some of the folk stuff?
Sure, yeah. Minimally, a little bit. We
right.
will do some, pop tunes, an R&B tune,
salsa.
yeah, just some kind of world music, salsa, merengue, things that will just touch and taste that.
Right.
And so we, by no means, try to avoid it, but we also know that people are saturated with that all the time, and there's something about being set apart to do something different. People can. That's the difference between now and 200 years ago. 200 years ago, you had to go to a concert hall to hear music, and if you forgot how a certain part sounded, you had to find someone who could hum the tune for you or get a copy of the music. Now you put in the CD or an iPod or whatever, you plug it into your computer, and you can hear any song, anytime, any place you want. That's not inherently bad, but we've lost a little bit of the novelty of and the joy of an actual live performance. And so I think that's one of the things the boys get out of it, is they're singing together in the moment, cherishing that rather than vicariously through another MP3 or iTunes or whatever.
When is your next big thing?
We kick off our concert in September. And we have a concert on September Sunday in September. Let me tell you. It's at the Cathedral of the Incarnation on University Parkway, right over in Charles Village. Sunday, September 29th, 4 p.m. It's a free concert. We'll have about 100 boys singing that evening from our concert choir, our tour choir, and our men's chorus of Change Voices. So it'll be quite an event, and it's a beautiful venue if you get a chance to visit it. It's a beautiful cathedral space and very easily located right there over by Johns Hopkins University.
Well, thank you.
It really establishes a family and friend-based organization that you can always fall back on, because in school you're always changing and you're never going to see the same people for the same 4 years. But with the boy choir, we were together for 9-10 years at a time. We've known each other for eons, it seems like, and it seems like we've been doing this for our entire lives, and it pretty much is. And there's a lot of very great role models within the choir that, with me, my mom divorced my father, and I didn't have a dad for a while because it was in second grade, so there was a lot of male role models within this organization that I kind of looked up to and helped to model myself on.
I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Essentially, no matter where we go, we're always going to have a home right here with all of our MSB friends. If we go abroad to Europe, if we go across the country to Cali, we get a job there, we're always going to have people here that will stay with us for the rest of our lives. And that's the special thing about being with this organization.
Yeah. With the boy choir, there's a very big sense of community. Everybody loves each other. We're, on a tour bus for a whole week, just mixing and mingling, getting to know who likes what, finding out, who has the same interest as you. And as far as valuable lessons learned in the choir, the most important lesson I've learned is that you can work very, very, very hard, but then you can play hard at the same time. So as long as you're working extremely hard and you're having a little bit of fun on the side, your life is full. It's rich. You're not, being boring. So.
Okay.
I mean, after being with the choir for 10 years, I have one actual brother at home, but I would say I have probably 500 brothers, from people that have gone through the choir that I still connect with today, to the smallest kid that, is just 9 or 10 and feeling homesick, and then, he can look up to somebody and say, well, if he's done it for 10 years, maybe it's worth it. Maybe in 10 years I can be him and have a little kid look up to me.
Okay.
And I just see it as the boy choir bringing together a huge group of people who love to sing, and the connection that brings between people is just great. You always have friends and family, like they said, together because of that joy of singing that we all share. So.
Thank you, guys.